I go there, they pick up my bag. The value systems, and this blue blood, royal German with almost like the royal ancestry, but they are no anchor. I think if you keep your systems simple, keep your values in the family very simple, and practice frugality.
So they don't grow as fast as other people do, but they do it slowly and steadily.
We are almost embarrassed by our size. Let me put it very frankly. And this is a discussion I as an outsider. Okay, I am happy to also tell you, Ajay, you also did know. I was an equity holder in the Indian company. And this was also a first time because the Vaibhav 600, the family, nobody outside the family is an equity holder. Right now, my equity in India has been transferred to the group equity. Again, that's the first in 600 years. Never an outsider from the family was invited to be part of the equity. And I am on the board now of the international board. But you know the reason for that also, nothing says like success finally. Just to tell you, Vaibhav in the last 4 years has grown against Vaibhav India, not Vaibhav International, has grown against that trend. It has just kind of, the business has been tough. So we've jumped from EBITDAs coming from 11 to 16 to 20. I'm just going like this. And this is the other strategy, but I don't know how much you want to go. The strategy of the bottom line. When you sense the top line is straining, you start looking at the bottom line. So that's what we did 3 years ago. And we said that we want to get into the EBITDA, that percentage point, which now every year is kicking in. 1.5 to 2% increase. We got a jump of 5%. Now we are struggling at this level, but the next year we would like to squeeze out another 1.5 to 2%. Now for this is another discussion altogether, and a fabulous presentation by McKinsey that we had recently on how to really get your 5% from your product. And you can, whether you do it in 1 year or 3 years or 2 years, but because of this kind of a growth and this kind of a thing, I think I am very lucky to be in that, in that space where India becomes a very important part of the whole setup, key part.
One other question that I had was you mentioned that Vaibhav took over the SIVA plant.
Sorry, the ICI.
The ICI business, which was chrome pigment based.
No, that was DuPont.
Okay, so it took over the DuPont
plant. That was a plant. Yeah.
So when they invested so much money in a plant that makes chrome pigments, which was already a bad word at that point of time. So what was essentially the strategy in terms of what were they thinking when they were trying to buy out a plant that makes toxic chemicals? Did they already have something in mind? Or were they just buying assets?
No, it was a business.
So buying a business.
Number one, it's fully legal. Even today, it is fully legal. We are talking something like 40 years ago. This was only a case that DuPont wanted out. Imagine that a SIVA was also producing it. That the chemical is toxic. There are about a zillion chemicals out there which are toxic. So that doesn't stop. As long as you are legally clear, number one, you handle the product properly. Okay, which means you take the due precautions. All of them take chemicals which are hazardous and toxic. Who does it? I mean, chlorine, bromine, phosgene, for goodness sake. This is nothing compared to a phosgene which is being produced here in Baroda or everywhere. So the chrome pigments have a bad smell, but the question is, they are wonderful pigments, by the way. Till today, a chrome pigment doesn't have a substitute. Do you know that? If you see the cost performance ratio, it's absolutely brilliant pigments. They are fantastic. Now, 40 years ago, that was not the point. 40 years ago, it was not even a question. Even today in India, there are chrome plants which are running. In the world, there are chrome plants which are running. Europe is the first guy who said we are banning chrome for decorative paint. Let me be very clear. Because children, if there is a wall painted and there is a little flame, a child may go and put that thing in the mouth. You know how children are, they eat everything or whatever. So for that reason, the world has said, or the responsible companies have said they are out of. But chrome even today, frankly, they are wonderful products. They are not like, it's not like selling your soul to the devil or something like that. That's not the case. Okay, anything from the ladies you want to contribute or find out what you are doing? I'm always interested in, is there a project in your mind that you would like to do or have certain thoughts? Or?
I think for me, it would be interesting to know how you are associated with that. you mentioned the first venture didn't work out, and then there was some issue. If you could just talk about how you got associated with first 1 year.
Yeah, I'll tell you that, but there's a misunderstanding. No project we did, everything worked out from the beginning, so there was no question. I had a friend who was in the US, and then he actually met Ryan, but they were buying products from India, and then they wanted to put up a plant in India. And then he called me up and we could do it together. So it was something as simple as that. And I think I was 30 or 31 that time. Yeah, 30, 31. I was an independent business guy. Then we started it, and then we built up the whole thing. We took up the project as a turnkey. And once the turnkey project was finished, and I said, okay, fine. They paid me. I said, shake hands, let's go on. Then hang on. We got very good vibes. Okay, let's talk. In fact, if you ask me, there's an interesting story. Ajay. You don't know. So I said, fine. I have not worked for anything in my life. I've been a small businessman, but I'm good. We were in Shatabdi in the executive class and going towards Bombay. And he said, yeah, but we would like to join the board. So I said, yeah, I'm not really a corporate kind of guy. I'm an entrepreneur and I enjoy this up and down the road, investing and making money. Yeah, but that's what we want. We are historically entrepreneurs as well, so we like to do that. Then how much should we pay you? Again, a funny question, because in my life I only paid people. Nobody asked me what they will pay me. So he said, yeah, let's do one thing. He took the Shatabdi ticket out. This is a classic story, and he tore it into half. I said, shit, the other session, they asked the ticket. So I ticket, there's the ticket. He gave me one half, kept the other half. And I said, write a number on it. And I write a number on it and we exchange. And whatever the two numbers are, we'll come right in the middle. This is again interesting. These are actually relationship defining moments. In Shatabdi, the train is shaking like this, left and right. Okay, so he gives me a paper and I take the paper and he writes his number and I both exchange. So he has written some number. You open my paper, there is no number. It's blank. I don't understand. You're a smart guy. What was it? I said, how much money you invested, Diana? He said, $10 million. How much money did you make? He said, nothing. I said, we will have this conversation when you start making money. And then I tell you what I want, and then we leave it. And that's the handshake agreement there. So it's a defining moment. So you understood what type of guy he is. I said, you put in the money, what should I ask you? If you are going to treat me like a partner, then I'm not going to behave like an employee or try to get some $1,000 more or something like that in those days. So this was really the relationship defining moment from those days. Okay, anybody, anything, any ideas? Anything you want to do?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, we are trying to now launch our biofertilizers internationally. We're still in the planning stage, but do you have any advice as to how to approach the specific?
So the question is, I can't tell you very specifically, but the question is, which are the countries which are the big buyers? Which are the list of countries which are the big buyers? I'm saying typical ways you absolutely need not worry about knowing somebody or not knowing somebody. There are various ways to do it. The ways could be going to the trade consulate or trade commissioner in that particular country straight here. Go to the first forum, the agriculture forum, or whoever is your forum in India. Are you a member there? You must be, right?
For the department, with regards to registration of our product?
Yeah, which is the department regulating your product in India?
Fertilizer control or the
So that deal. So what I will do, typically I know the fertilizer joint secretary. Okay, I can arrange an appointment with. I'm saying everyone can't do it,
Yeah.
but I like to jumpstart this whole thing because I'm not going to go through the whole S-curve. So you go meet the joint sec, and then since he's a friend, what do? He probably introduces you to a couple of trade commissioners. Okay, and you get first from the government angle what all help they can give you. Okay, because that helps. Maybe a time there are issues. Then go to a FGI, for instance, and FGI would have the trade delegations who would not directly those particular commissioners. I would use FGI, I would use the government. Okay, I would use the trade body itself here, and I would get connected by going into some forums. There you get collection of these items of these guys coming in.
Okay.
Let's take the case that you want to sell, take a easy country, Vietnam. Okay, say Vietnam. I'm assuming there's agriculture. So it's not difficult to get the concept of a trade guy there, go to him, okay, then meet them in a forum got three people doing nothing else but market intelligence. They put in a corner and just do market intelligence and get the dossier of companies and countries, etc. So use your one guy or sit yourself on it and get the whole net search done. On within that, then the simple question is if you can buy, let's say, reports, who are the buyers, who are the sellers in that particular country, who are the top distributors, who are the top. So let's say, I don't know, but let's say, let me be ignorant, let's say it's a Monsanto or somebody like this who's a, I don't know, the seed people may not be in it. Who would be typically the big company? Okay, anybody, let's say Clarion or somebody. Who is the Clarion distributor? And this information will be put on the website. Everything is there. On the website you will make a whole list of 20 distributors. Okay? Right to the 20 distributors. 50% chance that somebody is unhappy with this company. Okay? Can I set up a meeting with you? Depending on how eager you are, I pay for your ticket, can you come here? Or can I come there? You know? I mean, then the whole story starts.
Right.
But there's absolutely, the world is so small and so transparent and everyone is connected. And
Would you suggest that consultants is also one of the
Why
better ways
not?
to go about it?
why not? But my opinion is a little weak on them. Those who can do, those who can't consult. Okay? That's the consultant level. But that's not true for everybody.
Right.
So try it, don't give it too much money. Just get it on deliverables rather than, story. But you fall once, you learn. Just keep that curve going. Sometimes they're good. But you can't take somebody out of the yellow pages. You have to have solid references coming up
Right.
before consulting.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Typically, when you're putting up projects, one of the biggest and most challenging things about putting up a project is the project delays. In terms of suppliers delaying the equipment that is supposed to be delivered in 3 months, they come after 6 months, 10 months. So, time being money, that becomes a huge risk in terms of setting up capacities where you are competing on with somebody as well. So, is there any strategy that you generally use that you may have found successful in terms of, somehow pressurizing your suppliers to deliver on time, whatever you are?
Yeah, see, the first project we did, we had a heavy penalty clause and equally heavy bonus clause. So for us, we calculated if it's delayed by X amount of time, there is a money we lose. So that was the first thing. And then we also got, and this you do, when you do your project planning, you get all where the trigger points are, bottlenecks are there basically. The first thing is this stupid civil, bidding. That's where is the worst kind of a story. They'll drive you nuts. So that is something you got to get in control of. And selecting a good contractor. If you select a bad guy, you're dead. In my 42 plants that I made, we had 3 plants in which we got a bad contractor. But the others we were good. The guy has to come. The second is you have to be innovative. So what we do, the engineering guys will make you crazy. They will say, unless and until I have the basic engineering drawing, I can't give you the civil drawing. Because where do I know where the weights are located? Let's say the load points and load factors and everything. So I have now come to the conclusion I don't want to listen to these guys. I am impatient with them. I say, get out all of you. You make me one building. It's 15 or 15% more expensive. But I buy 6 months to 9 months. Okay, my equipment will come anywhere for now. So they make massive footing, massive this, they just make a plant. Okay, and then now you keep wherever you like. And sometimes they have to cut the concrete, so cut it. Because they've not done this or that. But sometimes it's far worth doing that instead of first waiting. My German guys don't like it because they say everything should be first come. So that's the Indian Jugaad thing, which I don't listen to them. And I said, no, I'm going to do that. And then we gain in time.
So, paying that 15% extra,
It's worth it.
this thing is worth it.
It's worth it because that 15% of the project cost will be less than 5%, 2-3%. So 2-3% you pay and that digest it. And then we identify the key equipment. The key equipment also is sometimes there, they can make you crazy. So when you know something is not okay there, be sure that, like in a rotary vacuum dryer of 20 cubic meter, that guy went bankrupt. And then my guys were sitting there. I told them, don't come here, go sit there. Get that thing and come here, but don't come home, just go. So I think no formula here. We know the rules. You keep people on it, commit. And get the inspection agencies. That's the other thing that we do. I don't know how much you all do, but we do that quite tightly. The inspection agencies sitting and measuring everything. You Because imagine you get that thing and then it doesn't work here. That is even worse, everything is ready.
No.
It's like,
Sort of deploying enough man hours in terms of tracking your supplier at his factory every time to time helps a lot.
farm it out. That's why I said, your people, you cannot have so many people. Farm it out, then you get the report from the inspection agency on the progress and make a monthly progress, weekly progress, whatever.
The suppliers typically open themselves up to such
They have no
inspection.
choice, that's part of the contract.
That's
When you're ordering 2 crore, 3 crore, the better list. They will. Not a problem. I'm assuming you're not going with a very small guy.
No, I'm not. I'm talking
You
about
know,
yeah.
yes, then they are okay. Earlier I compromised. Got an Indian BPL and everything. Go for the best equipment. Pay the money. I'm telling you.
I'm realizing that.
Yeah, don't try to save money there because I'm telling you it's so irritating afterwards. That thing is leaking and this is leaking and that is leaking and then you're fixing the problem. It becomes from his problem becomes your problem. So just buy the rulers and the Sitas and the Alpinians and all these German, buy the German equipment, you pay horrible prices for it, but you pay it once.
One thing I would like you to address, that is your part of your experiences, how many projects you have actually failed or what you plan to fail, and when you have to sort of cut, it takes a lot of guts to cut people, cut projects, make those decisions. Can you share with me at least one story there?
You remember the colorant project, that flopped, by the way. So we are getting out of the colorant project. What we did there is, I think either I understood one thing. You can't go into business thinking that you are going to be good in every type of business. That's a sometimes it's young people like to think we can do everything. Yes, you should try, but also you have to recognize some things. For example, if you look at a certain business that is very service oriented and it's a business where technical support is required, it probably needs to be in a subsidiary outside your main business. If you put all of it like a power money in your main business, then what happens is you get into trouble because those businesses are competing with other guys who are completely focused on that business. And you think that because, now for instance, if I'm making a pigment, and this is relevant to Monica, to you guys, especially today. If I'm making a pigment, because I make the pigment, I think that I'm very smart, that I can also make the dispersion. The dispersion for y'all is to take a pigment and to grind it into a liquid form. Now that is true. That is not a problem because we understand particle size reduction and other things technically. But then that dispersion, when we start going in the value chain up, it finally lands up in the paint shop. And we think if he can do it, why can't I do it? You can theoretically, but the servicing, it's driven me nuts, and I'm not ashamed to say it's a lesson learned. We back off. I sell a container worth 2 crores of pigments. These guys order small bottles, and they order 15 lakhs, something like that. 50 lakh bottles, small thing that the thing is poured in. For us, I'm in 40-foot container business sending out pigment to the world, to the biggest buyer. And here is this small, pretty little bottle and machines. And one day I went there because the business is not large enough. There were 20 women packing that thing. So she who are these people? Who they are packing contractor. Packing. Machine like this and cutting that thing. So you can do everything. And here we failed. And we are not ashamed to say that. I told them to get out of the business. The problem is there is a lot of supply chain there are raw materials, there are finished goods, it's a disaster. Now as best as you can get, you fight the bullet and you kind of do it. Okay, so this is one example. The other similar business on a larger scale was textile dispersion. We made a plant for this, but fortunately we could use that plant for the other dispersion. So it was not a complete disaster. The textile dispersion is, I'm telling you, the worst business in the world is textile for me because textile is you buy a shirt and you put it, and everybody in the value chain, clothes, just imagine, now the Americans will curse the Chinese, but the Americans are hooked on to the $5 shirts. You can't get out of that. The t-shirts of $2, $3, $5. It's go to the malls. You generally buy clothes when you don't need them. Remember, you buy go to a mall, you're buying clothes, you don't toxicology is very important. If there is a bad pigment on the cloth and then there is a skin irritation, then it's a liability and a claim. So they will want everything. And I said, we used to laugh. We used to say, in those days, Madhuri Dixit used to be the hot one. So we said, you want a Madhuri Dixit, but you want to pay for whoever else, some of the side actors. And you can't have that. They want to pay the minimum and they want the performance of, the top. This is a textile. So we learned this, that it's more fun. For people who are doing it, let them do it. And we got out of Oikotex, which is the textile disposal warehouse. But the plant, fortunately, can be used for other things. So two cases, one in which the other one we didn't have so much of capex, the paint tinters, but in this one, so tinters we still have. My German company has a beautiful plant. I think the mistake also was that we did not make it in the plant that we were supposed to make it in. We tried to adjust it in the larger plant, then that's a problem. You also do things in the place they are supposed to be done. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to my original question, something related to that. When you are trying to get into a new market in a foreign country where you don't have any contacts, and you're trying to assess be it a vendor or somebody you're trying to do business with, what are the key things that people should be assessing, or how do you judge them whether or not they're genuine or if they're going to move up to whatever their cost?
This is a difficult one. It's a very good question. Because that's always a problem. If you're standing in a booth and there's a guy coming with a card, then it can be an issue.
Because there's a lot of times you promise a lot of things, but you don't know how